Are we live? It looks like we are live. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Pop Culture Asylum. I'm your host, Gabriel. I hope everyone is having a great day. I'm definitely having a great day so far. I hope you guys are doing the same. And this may be probably my biggest video yet. Now, if you read the title, this is basically the very first episode of this podcast. Now, I'm not gonna do much. I'm not gonna do these podcasts very much, but so much has happened, so much news has come out this week that it really needs to be addressed. And I know that for the next couple of days, I can't do like one video a day of each specific news because there's just so much news to talk about. So I figure, why not address all the news all in one video? So that's why I got this idea for a podcast today. So I figure this is episode 1 of my new podcast called The Asylum Files. The name is still a work in progress. Tell me in the comments section if you guys like The Asylum Files. Personally, I kind of like the name, but we're going to go over all the news that happened this week. And plus, we're also going to go over my predictions for WrestleMania 37 because WrestleMania 37 is next week. We got a lot to go over. Of course, we're going to talk about NXT. Of course, they're officially moving to Tuesday nights, which I'm going to give my thoughts about that in a little bit. Of course, I'm going to give my thoughts on Peacock censoring WWE content because, even though that's the news is like a couple of days old, I feel like I need to put my 2 cents into Peacock censoring WWE content or controversial WWE content. Of course, we're gonna go over a shocking guest that is gonna appear in the next Broken Skull sessions, and this news just broke the internet. It broke social media yesterday, and we're gonna go over that news today and my thought on that. Also, we're also gonna talk about the aftermath of the breakup of the Hurt Business, and apparently not many people, many people, plus MVP and Bobby Lashley did not like Vince McMahon breaking up the Hurt Business. We're also going to talk about that. And of course, we're also going to talk about the go-home show of SmackDown before WrestleMania because they did something very interesting about the go home show for SmackDown, and I'm gonna talk about this. So that's basically all the news that I'm going to talk about today. So this video is going to be a long one. Make sure you have your snacks. Make sure you have your popcorn, your chips, your drinks. And thank you so much for taking your time out of your day to watch this video. I really, really appreciate it. So without further ado, let's get this podcast underway. So the first piece of news that we're going to talk about is NXT officially moving to Tuesday nights. They will no longer be a part of Wednesday nights. Now, I'm reading this article from WrestlingInc.com. So if you want to read the article, you can read it on WrestlingInc.com. I'll make sure to put the articles in the description after this video ends. So I'm definitely going to do that. So if you want to read the articles, I'm gonna put them in the link in the description after the video. But let's read what it's about. So here's what it has to say. So WWE announced this week that NXT will be moving to Tuesday nights on the USA Network as a part of a multi-year extension. The move has been rumored for over a month, and it ends the battle between NXT and AEW Dynamite on Wednesday nights. On the latest edition of the Wrestling Observer Radio, Dave Meltzer revealed details of a team meeting that was held before this week's episode of NXT. The focus of the meeting was to show the move to Tuesday nights. The meeting began with a reflection on how far NXT has come over the past 6 years. it was noted that they came from being a small brand that sold out a show at WrestleMania 31 to one of the top brands in WWE. It also pointed out in the meeting that they were on Wednesday night first. However, the competition came to their night and tried to bully them. Finally, it was noted that Raw is their lead in, even though it is on a different night, and now they have a night for themselves. It was stated that with NXT on Tuesdays, everything is going to change. Now, not much I have to say here. I'm honestly glad NXT it's moving to Tuesday. It's the right call. Now, here's the thing. I don't care about the Wednesday Night Wars. I never care. I never will care about the Wednesday Night Wars because, like, I don't care if you like NXT more AEW, or I don't care if you like AEW more than NXT. Personally, like, I don't care about the Wednesday Night Wars, but there's no doubt about it that AEW has been kicking NXT's ass every single week, to the point where NXT's ratings were getting lowered and lowered and lower. And it was already like a bad call by WWE and Vince McMahon to put NXT on Wednesday nights to compete against AEW, because again, AEW was a new thing. And like, not to mention the fact that NXT is not doing very well right now. They are doing a few things right. Hell, I'm definitely excited for Adam Cole versus Kyle O'Reilly at NXT Stand Deliver. I feel like NXT has done a great job like building up this rivalry. I love what they're doing with Adam Cole and Kyle O'Reilly, but everything else has been so lackluster. And like, there's been some weeks where NXT has done some questionable things. The NXT Women's Tag Team Championships. Yeah. So, like, again, like, NXT is losing viewers every single week. They are getting their ass kicked by AEW every single week. Okay. So it doesn't. So unless you want NXT to be massacred, which Triple H would not let that happen, because again, this is Triple H's baby. Like, the smart move would be putting NXT to Tuesday nights. So yeah, like, there's more wrestling now, because if you think about it, now we on Mondays we got Monday Night Raw. On Tuesday we got NXT and Impact. Wednesdays we got AEW Dynamite. Thursdays we got NXT UK, if you guys watch NXT UK. And Friday we got Friday Night SmackDown. Every single week, it like there's like wrestling, like there's no break whatsoever. Now, personally, like, I only watch AEW and SmackDown. Raw I watch from time to time, but again, Raw is I watch it out of necessity, because Monday Night Raw is just a dumpster fire right now. But despite like come on, it was inevitable. Like, NXT has been getting their ass kicked every single week. Every single week. So even like, now, like, some people are not really fans because, again, like, some people are not fans of this move, which I can kind of justify it because, again, every single day now has a wrestling show except for Saturday and Sunday. And next week, like, it's just full of wrestling. Okay. Now, again, I don't watch NXT. I don't watch NXT UK. Like, but there's just like way too much wrestling content. Way, way, way too much wrestling content to like try to catch up on. Like, honestly, I don't even remember the last time I watched NXT UK. I don't even remember the last time I watched NXT. But yeah, like, honestly, that's kind of my thoughts on this, really. Like, personally, for me, I'm kind of glad that NXT is moving to Tuesday nights, because again, NXT has just been getting massacred every single week by AEW. At that point, it was just only a matter of time before NXT moves to a different night anyway. So I'm glad that NXT is getting their own night on Tuesday nights. So there is that. So So the next piece of news that I want to talk about is Peacock censoring controversial WWE content. Now, okay, before I even get to my thoughts, I want to read you this article. This is coming from Forbes. I'm reading this article from Forbes.com. Here's what it has to say. WWE's forthcoming move to Peacock has not been without its share of controversy, as the NBC Universal streaming service prepared to officially launch the WWE Network. As a part of a billion-dollar deal, Peacock will have exclusive rights to the WWE Network in the United States. Acting as the gatekeeper for WWE content is NBC Standards and Practices, which is currently reviewing the entire WWE Network library for potentially problematic content. This dynamic that puts a great deal of WWE content in danger of being left off Peacock and even shelved altogether by WWE for good. Like all the other shows on the Peacock platform, we are reviewing WWE content to ensure it aligns with Peacock standards and practices, said NBC Universal in a recent New York Times article. Peacock and WWE are reviewing all past content to ensure it fits our 2021 standards, echoed WWE. The ongoing audit of WWE Network content will require 17 hours of review. Peacock continues to hire WWE Network jobs with such a staggering watch time ahead to contend with. The upstart streaming service has already begun to omit controversial vintage WWE footage. Examples being Roddy Piper painting half of his body in blackface ahead of his WrestleMania 7, WrestleMania 6 feud against Bad News Brown, and Vince McMahon casually saying the N-word to John Cena at Survivor Series 2005. WWE has also opted to edit controversial content from all platforms, not just Peacock. Both of WWE Golden Ages in the rock and wrestling era of the 80s and in the Attitude eras of the 90s took place rife for controversial content, whether it was tone deafness of the 80s or the shock value of the 90s. A right array of classic WWE content may be seen its final days on WWE programming, especially out of context. Several wrestlers has commented on the soon-to-be censored WWE Network and what segments, promos, and matches have been rendered endangered streaming. Now, some of the wrestlers had this to say about this. So Brian Pillman Jr. says, pretty sure none of my dad's WWE promos are making it to Peacock. Stevie Richards says, so Peacock TV is censoring and removing WWE Network content. And it shows a picture of Stevie Richards during the Right to Censor faction. Lance Storm said, I just checked the Peacock edits on the regular WWE Network too. Mania 6 skips from Beat Kicks to the Hart Foundation match. If you select the Piper Bad News Brown match, it goes right to the Hart Foundation. I hope everyone kept their box sets and DVDs and VHS tapes. Now, even Edge spoke about this situation, and specifically the live sex celebration with Lita back during the Ruthless Aggression era. Here's what Edge had to say. I'm reading this from WrestlingInc.com. Here's what it has to say. WWE Hall of Famer Edge is not entirely sure if his live sex celebration segment with Lita from 2006 would stay on the WWE Network as Peacock continued to review and remove controversial WWE content from the past. In a recent chat with Jimmy Trina, I'm sorry if I'm butchering your name, of the Sports Illustrated Media podcast, Edge said that he hasn't put much thought into whether Peacock would edit out his segment with Lita. And here's what Edge had to say. I don't really think about it, to be honest. It's just one of those I just think kind of erased from my mind. I don't put a whole lot of thought into it, to be honest. Edge went on to highlight that sex scenes from other TV shows are rarely censored, but wrestling get put into a different category for some odd reason. Here's his continued thought. But I guess if you're looking at it from the terms of it, it's a TV show, right? So you go, okay, well, if you look at a movie, there's sex scenes. I was on Vikings, and Vikings is going to be on Peacock as of today. My character beheads people and put their heads on spike. Didn't really, but I also didn't really have sex in the wrestling ring. So I think it's a confusing thing with wrestling. For some reason, it gets put into a different category than in other production. I never fully grasped that, but I don't think anybody will ever fully grasp where you put it. As noted earlier, the infamous DX parody of the Nation of Domination from 1998 was recently edited out of the WWE Network. WWE and Peacock still expect to have the WWE library available for viewing on demand in time for SummerSlam in late August. So there you go. Some of the controversial stuff has already been taken out, like Roddy Piper's blackface promo and matchup against Bad News Brown. Of course, Vince McMahon saying the N word at which to John Cena at Survivor Series 2005, and most recently the DX parody of the Nation of Domination, where most of them did blackface. Now, here's my thoughts on this. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not a big fan of some of these controversial stuff. Like, if this happened current day, I would not be a fan of it because WWE should know better. But here's the thing. Like, there's I'm kind of worried about like what they're gonna do like with the Attitude Era content and the ECW content. And I think WCW has done some like controversial stuff as well. Like I'm kind of worried about this because remember, like WWE wasn't always kid friendly like it is right now back in the day, obviously. Like we had back in the day, like we used to have like segments where Brian Pillman like almost kills Stone Cold Steve Austin with a gun, or The Undertaker trying to marry Stephanie McMahon against her free will, or like all of that. And plus we had like characters like the Godfather being a pimp, like Val Venus who's like a porn star, like all that jazz. And don't even get me started on like D Generation X. Like they have done some extremely controversial stuff. But that's the thing. Now again, if they done if they done any of these controversial things nowadays, like they did back in the day, like then I would be against it because WWE should know better at this point. But like here's like these things already happened, honestly. So like and it's like here's the thing. Like Peacock, I'm sure they have some R-rated stuff. Like for example, the Viking show that Edge is in. It's an R-rated show. Like and I also saw screenshots. Like I also saw screenshots of people like showing before like seeing an R-rated show or an R-rated movie that it shows like a warning like hey this might show some violent like stuff, like some sexual content and all that jazz. So why can they just do the same thing with the WWE content? Like they're already doing it with like R-rated stuff. And I'm sure some of the stuff that goes on in some of the R-rated movies that they have would not be okay. Like I don't know, it's a weird situation. Like personally, I'm not a fan of it. Like honestly, they shouldn't just put warnings on like certain shows saying like, hey, like this content might have some offensive, violent, or sexual content that might not be for everyone. Viewer discretion is advised. Like the WWE Network did this. I don't see why Peacock can't do the same thing. And I feel like some of these segments that are like not like socially acceptable nowadays are going to get canceled. Like again, I'm like, here's the thing. The things in the past already happened in the past. Okay? And some of these controversial segments help WWE. Like like DX. I remember one episode where like Shawn Michaels put the Canadian flag up his nose, and who can forget that funny segment where Triple H, Shawn Michaels, and China did like a little PSA on like saying curse words and stuff like that. And again, like there's also another episode of like Brian Pillman trying to kill Stone Cold Steve Austin with a gun. Like even though that was like extremely controversial, it did help bring eyes back to the product. Now, again, if any pro wrestling company does anything like controversial like they did back in the 80s and 90s and the early 2000s, then I would be against it because again, WWE should learn from their mistakes by now. But again, like even though yes, there has been some controversial stuff in the past, but the past is already the past. It happened. Okay? And again, if it's like very controversial, then put up a warning saying like, hey, this content has like offensive or violent or sexual content that might not be for everyone. Viewer discretion is advised. They already do this. They already did this for like R-rated shows and R-rated movies on Peacock. I don't know why they can't do the same thing with the WWE content. It makes no sense. It's just a simple fix. If some shows have some controversial stuff, again, put a warning before the show starts or before the pay-per-view starts. Okay? It's a simple fix, honestly. Okay? That's basically all I got to say. That's literally my thoughts on it. Like again, it's a very tricky situation because again, even I'm not a fan of like some of the things that they did back in the day, but I'm not going to boycott it. What's done is done. Honestly, what's done is done. Okay? Like yes, Brody Piper did like blackface against Bad News Brown at WrestleMania 6. I'm not a fan of blackface. Okay, I'm totally against blackface, actually. But again, what's done is done. And I'm not going to boycott WWE now for something that they did a long time ago. They did a lot of controversial shit a long time ago. Okay, and again, if they done this shit nowadays, then like I would be against it 100%. But the past is the past. Okay, as long as they don't repeat the controversial stuff that they've done in the past, then we're all good. Okay, and again, if some shows or some pay-per-views have some controversial stuff, again, put a warning. It's not that hard to put a warning. You already do that with R-rated shows and R-rated movies that you have on your streaming service. So I don't see why you can't do that with the WWE content. It's like it's a waste of time, honestly. But that's basically all I gotta say. But it's just sad that we're losing the WWE Network because the WWE Network was a great. Like with all the things that they had, like they had freaking um they had like you know like one of those days where like you want to go to the WWE network and you just want to skip to a specific match, you can. And you can like do that with the WWE network and you can watch all the shows, all the documentaries. Like we had all this content for $10. And just the fact that we're losing it, it's kind of sad to be honest. I love like even though like me and WWE have like a abusive like this love-hate relationship, one of the things that WWE has done right is the WWE network. And just the fact that we're losing the WWE network is it's just sad to see. So Today is the last day. By midnight tonight, we're going to lose the WWE Network forever, basically, in the United States. So, yeah, after this video, I'm going to watch some WWE Network content before it shuts down. Like a lot of people on YouTube right now are doing like WWE Network watch parties for like the final day of the WWE Network. But all I got to say is rest in peace, WWE Network. You have been such an amazing streaming service, and we are going to miss you. that's that's basically all I got to say. So there is that. So the next piece of news that I want to talk about is Stone Cold Steve Austin's Broken Skull sessions. Now, in the next Austin's Broken Skull sessions, we like, of course, his next guest has been announced yesterday, which broke the damn like internet, like broke Twitter, like everybody was talking about this. Like, in case you guys don't know, the next guest on Stone Cold's Broken Skull sessions is Chris Jericho. Chris Jericho. Like, trust me, I was just as shocked as they announced Chris Jericho as being a part like of the Broken Skull sessions. Now, I'm gonna read an article about this situation. I'm reading this from the Wrestling Observer newsletter.com. Here's what this has to say. Here's what this article has to say. AEW star Chris Jericho is set to make his first appearance on the WWE produced programming since 2018. WWE announced today that Jericho would be the next guest on Steve Austin's Broken Soul sketch sessions. The episode will premiere on Peacock in the United States and the WWE Network everywhere else on Sunday, April 11th. It will air on the live stream following the second night of WrestleMania 37. The WWE Network's Twitter account has teased the announcement yesterday by posting a 24-hour Austin-themed countdown clock with an audio from the countdown clock that was featured in Jericho's WWE's entrance music. In an interview with Sports Illustrated, Austin said the idea of having Jericho on Broken Skull sessions came after Jericho texted him following the previous episode with The Undertaker. Here's what Austin had to say. I was having a beer one night after my Broken Skull Sessions interview with The Undertaker aired, and out of the blue, Chris Jericho reached out and said, "Man, that was a great interview." Austin said, I sent him back a couple of those emojis, one with a beer mug and then other with an eagle. And then he called me right then and there. We got to talking. I always respected the hell out of his career. I'm glad they're around. It gives the guys and girls in professional wrestling more places to work, I said. I love to have you on the show. And he said he'd love to do it too. So I checked with Vince about it. Austin told Sports Illustrated about Vince McMahon approving the interview with Jericho. I texted Vince and said, we had this badass idea about Jericho coming to the show. Vince goes, it's cool, go ahead. But me and Vince don't always do well with phones and texts and all that. So I texted him one more time. Are you sure it's okay to have Chris Jericho on the show? Vince gave me the thumbs up, and Chris came out to do the show. Sports Illustrated noted that AEW's Tony Khan also gave his approval on Jericho to appear on the Broken Skull sessions. Austin has interviewed Undertaker, Goldberg, Kane, Big Show, Bret Hart, Ric Flair, Mark Henry, Jerry Lawler, Kurt Angle, Drew McIntyre, Bayley, Sasha Banks, and Randy Orton on past Broken Skull session episodes, with The Undertaker appearing on the show twice. Jericho had his final match in WWE at the Greatest Royal Rumble in 2018. He joined AEW when the promotion launched in 2019. And blah, blah, blah. That's basically the rest of it. So, here are my thoughts on this. This is actually awesome. Okay, the fact that Austin and Jericho was able to like pull this off is just amazing. The fact that Vince and Tony Khan actually approved this is like shocking. Like it is crazy. Like here's the thing, because WWE and AEW are kind of in a war right now. But like, and again, Chris Jericho is currently in a rival promotion that is going against WWE. Like, honestly, ever since Jericho joined AEW, I never thought that Jericho would join a WWE show or like podcast in general again. But apparently I was wrong. Like, so many people were shocked about it. Everyone was talking about this. Like, some people were even saying like, oh, like we got AEW's Chris Jericho on the show. Does that mean that we might see like a Kenny Omega on the show? Or like a Sammy Guevara or like an MJF. Now, guys, don't get it too ahead of yourself. Okay, like Vince McMahon, I'm surprised that he even gave the thumbs up to have Jericho on the Broken Soul sketches. But here's the thing: Chris Jericho is a former WWE superstar as well, so it makes sense. So, like, even though it's kind of shocking, I can kind of see why Vince McMahon gave the thumbs up on Chris Jericho joining the Broken Skull session because, again, even though he's a current AEW superstar, he's also a former WWE superstar, so it makes sense. Like, I don't think we're gonna see like a Kenny Omega or like a Sammy Guevara or an MJF on the Broken Star sketches. Okay, that is just way too far fetched. But this is cool. This is really cool. And honestly, this is kind of a smart move by WWE because this gives eyes like to like WWE a little bit. Like WWE was literally the talk of the town yesterday after they made this announcement. And you know damn well that AEW is going to be mentioned in this like interview with Austin and Jericho. And that is going to be very, very interesting. And again, I just think it's really cool. And even though not many people are fans of this WWE Peacock merger, I'm not a fan of it either. But this is how you get like many people to to get those Peacock subscriptions to watch this Broken Skull session. Like this would definitely be a much watch, like 100% a much watch. I am definitely 100% gonna watch this live. I cannot wait for this interview with Austin and Jericho. And now, before I continue, like I want to address something real quick. Like, there's some people online in social media saying like, "Oh, Chris Jericho should be fired." Like, Chris Jericho is not allowed on a WWE show because, again, he belongs to AEW. He should stay in AEW. Like, Jericho should like get in trouble and stuff like that. Man, shut the hell up. Honestly, shut the hell up. Okay. So what is if Chris Jericho is joining a WWE like podcast? Okay, doesn't matter. Honestly, it's like some people are literally like crying and acting like children because Chris Jericho, a current AEW superstar, is a part of the Broken Skull session. So what? Okay, stop crying. Okay, stop acting like babies. Okay, honestly. So that's basically all I got to say about that. I am extremely excited about this interview with Austin and Jericho. It's definitely going to be interesting. So next up is a very rant-filled news. Like I'm probably gonna go on a rant. Okay, so like a lot of people like last Monday, the Hurt Business broke up, and everyone in the IWC hated this move. Everyone, like this was universally hated. Pillar Productions and the Botch guys, two wrestling creators who gives WWE the benefit of the doubt, especially Pilana Productions. Like they literally hated this move and thought that WWE fucked up by breaking up the Hurt Business. If you like, if people like Pillar Production and the Botch guys, people that give you the benefit of the doubt, if they're not fans of like the Hurt Business breaking up, you know you messed up big time. And apparently, it's not just the IWC that was mad at this. A lot of people backstage was mad at this, including MVP and Bobby Lashley. And I am reading this from, once again, WrestlingInc.com. Here's what it has to say. Fans on social media weren't the only ones surprised by the fracturing of the Hurt Business on Monday's Raw, as the members of the group were also reportedly shocked or unhappy about what happened. And noted, Monday's Raw saw MVP and WWE Champion Bobby Lashley dismiss Shelton Benjamin and Cedric Alexander from the group. The tension has been building for weeks, but oh my goodness, sorry. But things got physical, and Lashley later defeated Benjamin in a singles match, warning Alexander that he could meet the same fate next week if he wanted. In an update, WWE Chairman and CEO Vince McMahon reportedly made the decision to split the group, and Vince only. According to Fightful Select, the decision was made much to the chagrin of the members of the group. Lashley and MVP were reportedly vocal about not supporting the decision, but Vince was not budging. Lashley and MVP met with Vince at Raw about the idea to fracture the group, but the word is that Vince dug his heels even more at that meeting. It was noted by several locker room sources that the decision and how Vince insisted on splitting the group up was a massive blow to morale backstage. MVP stated this week that the Hurt Business lives on with he and Lashley. We noted before at this length how MVP revealed that he and Lashley are accepting worthy applications, indicating that there could be new members added to the group soon. Lashley recently spoke about wanting to recruit a female superstar. Lashley is set to headline WrestleMania 37 Night 1 against Drew McIntyre on Sunday, April 11th. The stipulation attached to that match said that Benjamin and Alexander were banned from ringside after McIntyre defeated them in a 2-on-1 handicap match for last week. Stay tuned for more. Now, if this is true, Vince McMahon is an idiot. Vince McMahon is an absolute idiot. The Hurt Business has had the potential to be one of the best factions, not just in WWE, but in professional wrestling. A lot of people watch Monday Night Raw, despite the show being trashed, just for the Hurt Business, because it was universally loved by everyone in the IWC. But again, we cannot have nice things. Like, first of all, they took away the Raw Tag Team Championships away from Benjamin and Alexander for no freaking reason. And they just take Shelton Benjamin and Cedric Alexander away. This entire situation pisses me off. And even MVP and Bobby Lashley was against the idea. They were fully against it, but Vince McMahon did not give a damn because, this is his company and only I know better. Everyone else is dumb. I'm always right because I'm Vince McMahon and I run the show. I am the chairman of my own company. I'm right and everybody else is wrong. Either you agree with me or you're wrong. This is why not many people watch Monday Night Raw anymore. That's why you're losing viewers every single week. Okay? You had something perfect. Perfect. You had the potential. This group had the potential to be one of the greatest factions in the history of not just WWE, but professional wrestling as a whole. They had the talent. They had the presentation. They even had the titles at one point. But no, because Vince McMahon is a senile old man who is out of touch and should step out from his job, decided to break something that was so perfect. Honestly, if this is true, I'm not surprised if Vince McMahon did this. And this goes to show that Vince McMahon needs to step down as chairman. He needs to retire because, again, he is out of touch. Out of touch. And if breaking up the Hurt Business does not prove to you people that Vince McMahon needs to step down, okay, then I honestly don't know what to say. I honestly don't know what other evidence I can give you. Okay, thank you for your contributions to pro wrestling, Vince, but you need to step down because you are killing your own company. You are killing it. Okay, it's shit like this why not many people like WWE anymore. It's shit like this. And it's not just the IWC. There's people backstage that were so mad of this decision that the morale was low. Very, very low, in fact. Okay, so you're not pissed. So you're not pissing up the IWC by breaking up the Hurt Business. You're pissing off superstars backstage. You're basically saying, oh, like you're just spitting on MVP's work. MVP worked his entire ass off to save not just one, not just two, but three careers. Three careers. And you want to throw all that away. For what? Honestly, for what, Vince? Okay, breaking up the Hurt Business is one of the worst things that ever happened to WWE, and I really mean it. Okay, this group had the potential to be something big, but you just had to ruin it for no reason. For no damn reason at all. This is why you're losing viewers every single week. Okay, this is why people think that WWE is the worst company in the world. Okay, it's disgusting. It's honestly disgusting. Okay, you had something great. You found treasure, absolute treasure, and instead of taking advantage of it, you just decided to shit all over the treasure. Unbelievable. That's that's basically my mini rant on that. So we are almost done. Our last news of the day is what we're gonna go over is we're gonna talk about the go home show of SmackDown before WrestleMania because for some strange reason WWE decided WWE decided to put two WrestleMania matches on the go home show of SmackDown like before WrestleMania. Like here's what the article has to say. As first announced on Twitter Spaces, the final stop on the road to WrestleMania will feature a special WrestleMania edition of SmackDown next Friday on Fox. And here's what's going to happen on the show. Universal Champion Roman Reigns, Daniel Bryan, and Edge are to address the WWE Universe. Of course, and also we got the SmackDown Fatal 4-Way Tag Team Championship matchup as the Dirty Dogs, Dolph Ziggler and Bobby Roode will defend the titles against the Street Profits, the Mysterios, Rey and Dominic Mysterio, and Alpha Academy, Otis and Chad Gable. And we also got the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal for WrestleMania. Of course, and a matter of fact, WWE actually gave the list on who is going to compete in the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal. And here are the names. Akira Tozawa, Angel Garza, Cedric Alexander, Drew Gulak, Elias, Eric of the War Raiders. Yeah, remember him? My goodness. Gran Metalik, Humberto Carrillo, Jackson Riker, Jay Uso, Kalisto, King Corbin, Lindsay Dorado, Mace, Buddy Murphy, Mustafa Ali, Ricochet, Shelton Benjamin, Shinsuke Nakamura, Slapjack, T-Bar, woo, sorry, and Tucker. My goodness, allergies. I am very sorry about that. So there are all the names for the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal. So here's the thing. Why are you like not saving it to like why are they putting this on SmackDown? Honestly, why are they putting these two matches on SmackDown, especially the SmackDown Fatal 4-Way Tag Team Championship matchup? Like, like I like it doesn't make any sense. Like these are two WrestleMania matches, and you decided to put it on a SmackDown instead of putting it at WrestleMania. I I honestly don't get why they're doing this. I'm honestly not a fan of this. Okay, why couldn't they just do the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal like on the pre-show? Just put it on the pre-show. And like put the SmackDown Tag Team Championship matchup either on night 1 and night 2, because personally, even though like the tag team division sucks right now, like honestly, the SmackDown Tag Team Championship matches, like the championship match, that's the one I'm excited for, honestly. I don't care about the Raw Tag Team Championship matchup. And the Women's Tag Team Championship matchup is a joke. It's honest to God a joke. Like, honestly, like this SmackDown Fatal 4-Way Tag Team Championship match had the potential to be really, really good. Like, very, very good. But instead, they decided to put it on a SmackDown instead of putting it at WrestleMania. Like, I am personally not a fan of this whatsoever, in my opinion. But there is that. But again, there's nothing I can do. It's not like I run the company. I wish I run WWE. Like, trust me, if I were to run WWE, things would be hella different. But unfortunately, I don't run WWE. So, yeah. So, there is that. So, now we got to. So, that's basically all the news. That's basically all the news that basically happened this week. Now, now, before we leave, we are going to talk about the WrestleMania 37 match card and my predictions for WrestleMania 37. Now, like, let's go over the SmackDown matches first, because again, like, even though they're not going to be at WrestleMania, they're technically WrestleMania matches. So, let's go over the match card. So let's talk about the SmackDown Fatal 4-Way Tag Team Championship match. Who do I think is going to win that matchup? Personally, I think it's going to be Rey and Dominic Mysterio. I think they're going to win this matchup. Like, honestly, I can honestly see them, because I could, like, honestly, Rey and Dominic Mysterio as tag team champions. Honestly, I'm kind of a fan of that. Like, I'm not against that whatsoever. It's father and son working together. Like, I'm sure that would make Rey Mysterio very happy before he retires. Personally, like, the Street Profits are already SmackDown Tag Team Champions. Like, I don't see, like, the titles going to Otis and Chad Gable. And, like, again, I don't see Ziggler and Rude like retaining the titles. I think Rey and Dominic Mysterio are going to win the SmackDown Tag Team Championship. It's just a shame that they're going to have to win it in a SmackDown instead of winning it at WrestleMania. Like Rey and Dominic Mysterio as father and son winning the titles at WrestleMania, that is a WrestleMania moment. But instead, WWE decided to put it on a SmackDown for no reason. Honestly. Now, let's talk about the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal. Now, who do I think is going to win the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal? Honestly, just because Shinsuke Nakamura is in this match, I'm going for Shinsuke Nakamura. Okay, because again, he's my boy. And like, it's kind of disappointing that they put Shinsuke Nakamura in this matchup. Like, personally, this would have been the perfect opportunity to do Daniel Bryan versus Shinsuke Nakamura at WrestleMania. Like, imagine Nakamura versus Bryan is a dream match in it of itself. But considering the state of WWE, it considering the state of WWE that is in right now, I honestly don't trust WWE handling that dream match between Nakamura and Daniel Bryan. But just because Nakamura is in this matchup, even though he deserves better, I think Nakamura is going to win the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal. So let's go on to the main show. So let's talk about night one first. So we're going to first talk about Bobby Lashley versus Drew McIntyre for the WWE Championship. Who do I think is going to win this matchup? Personally, I want Bobby Lashley to win this matchup. I want Bobby Lashley to win this match. But unfortunately, something tells me that Drew McIntyre, like they're going to give the title to Drew McIntyre. Because again, Drew McIntyre did not have his moment like last year. And also, Bobby Lashley doesn't have his Hurt Business members anymore. So, it's looking like Drew McIntyre is going to retain, like it's going to regain the WWE Championship, even though he shouldn't. Honestly, I hope and pray Bobby Lashley. I hope that I am wrong and Drew McIntyre win the title because again, Bobby Lashley just won the WWE Championship and he deserves a dominant run, like for like the entire year up to like the next WrestleMania. But and I really hope Bobby Lashley wins, but like something tells me that WWE is going to give it to Drew McIntyre, and I would not be surprised if that's the case. So after that, we got the SmackDown Women's Championship match as Sasha Banks defends the SmackDown Women's Championship against Bianca Belair. Now, who do I think is going to win this match? Now, personally, I think this is going to be a show sealer. These two ladies are absolutely going to kill it 100%. But my prediction is going to have, I think Sasha Banks is going to win this matchup because of a few reasons. Number one, it's way too early. Like, it's like, even though I wouldn't be mad if Bianca Belair won this matchup, like, it's way too early for Bianca Belair to win the SmackDown Women's Championship. Secondly, like Sasha Banks never won a WrestleMania match. So a hard-fought victory over Bianca Belair to retain the title, I can honestly see that. Okay. And plus, number three, I kind of want Sasha Banks's title reign to be a little bit longer because like just a little bit longer in my opinion. So as much as I love Bianca Belair, I think Sasha Banks is going to retain the SmackDown Women's Championship. Bad Bunny versus The Miz. Honestly, it's Bad Bunny because again, it's a celebrity. It's a celebrity versus a wrestler. And 99% of the time, the celebrity always wins. So I'm not going to say much there. Bad Bunny's going to win against The Miz. Oh, this one. This one also has potential to be the short sealer as well. Cesaro versus Seth Rollins. Who do I think is going to win this match? I think Cesaro is going to win this matchup because Seth Rollins, again, already have done so much. And I think Seth Rollins said in an interview, like, now he wants to, like advance other wrestlers to, like, the very top. And so I think Seth Rollins making Cesaro look good. Like personally, I think Cesaro's gonna win this matchup. I don't see Seth Rollins win this matchup, but this is gonna be one hell of a matchup. I cannot wait for this matchup. So that's my pick. Cesaro. I think Cesaro is going to win this matchup against Seth Rollins. And then, of course, we got the Raw Tag Team Championship match. I do not care about this buildup. This buildup has been terrible. Like, this matchup is so random. It's ridiculous. But who do I think is going to win? AJ Styles and Omos. Because, like, I think they're going to give the title to AJ Styles and Omos. Because AJ Styles has never won a tag team championship match. That's literally the only title that AJ Styles needs. And WWE is obsessed with giving people Grand Slam titles. So I think that the New Day are going to lose the Raw Tag Team Championships to AJ Styles and Omos. That's just my prediction. And then we got Shane McMahon versus Braun Strowman. This feud has been trash. Has been trash. Nobody has asked for this. The build-up has been nothing but a joke. It has been something I've been watching. It's feel like this build-up. It's been something that's been watching from like a Disney Junior show. Like, I don't know why this matchup is happening. I don't know why they have to put this matchup on the show, but it's happening. I don't care about it at all. Braun Strowman is my pick to win this matchup against Shane McMahon. So now we get to night two. Night two. So let's start off with the United States Championship matchup as Matt Riddle goes one-on-one against Sheamus. This is going to be a hard-hitting matchup. This is going to be a really great match between Riddle and Sheamus. Like, we already seen the match on Monday Night Raw, so they already showed it to us for free. What the hell? And, like, Sheamus, like, pinned Riddle for the 1-2-3. So, more than likely, I think Riddle is going to retain the United States Championship at WrestleMania. Because, again, they already did the matchup before, and Sheamus won against Matt Riddle. So, it can only translate to Riddle getting his revenge and retaining the United States Championship against Sheamus. Though I would not be mad if WWE gave the United States title to Sheamus. I do think more than likely than not, Matt Riddle will retain the United States Championship. Next up, we have another show sealer as Kevin Owens goes one-on-one against Sami Zayn. This matchup I'm excited for. They are going to kill it 100%. But if I have to choose a winner, I'm going for Kevin Owens because here's the thing. Like they could have gone both ways, but Logan Paul is going to be a part of this matchup. And I already made a video on that. Like, again, I'm not a fan of Logan Paul being in WWE and like being a part of this matchup, but it's happening. And just because Logan Paul is going to be in this matchup, and something tells me that Logan Paul is going to like screw Sami Zayn, I think Kevin Owens is going to win this matchup. Like, it's basically obvious at this point. I think Kevin Owens is going to win against Sami Zayn, but I still think it's going to be a good match between those two. So after that, we got the Intercontinental Championship on the line as Big E Langston goes against Apollo Crews. Now, this matchup is going to be a really great match. And, like, personally, I think Apollo Crews is going to become the new Intercontinental Champion. I think he's going to be the Intercontinental Champion because he definitely deserves it. Like 100%. Not saying that Biggie doesn't deserve the IC title, but Apollo Crews has been doing amazing work. And plus, they have been teasing Apollo Crews winning the Intercontinental Championship anyways. So I feel like WWE is going to give the Intercontinental Championship to Apollo Crews anyways. So that's my prediction. I think this is going to be one hell of a matchup, but Apollo Crews is going to end up being the new Intercontinental Champion, in my opinion. Next up, we got the Fiend Bray Wyatt versus Randy Orton. Now, this is one of the few feuds that has a really good build-up, in my opinion. I really like this story between Bray Wyatt and Randy Orton. But who do I think is going to win this matchup? Bray Wyatt. Like, it's kind of obvious at this point that Bray Wyatt's going to get his revenge at WrestleMania. So even though I think this is going to be a great match, it's going to be a very entertaining matchup, and I'm extremely excited because this rivalry is one of the few build-ups that WWE has done very, very well. And I think Bray Wyatt is going to overall get his revenge and defeat Randy Orton. Then we get to the Raw Women's Championship matchup as Asuka defends her title against Rhea Ripley. Who do I think is going to win this matchup? Rhea Ripley. I think giving Rhea Ripley the Raw Women's Championship is the right call. Okay? Because again, you're not doing anything with Asuka. I don't even remember the last time Asuka defended the Raw Women's Championship. Okay, you guys ruined Asuka's Raw Women's Championship reign. Okay, and I don't see why WWE would want to continue Asuka's Raw Women's Championship reign. Hell, if I was running the company, like right now, I would just take the title away from Asuka and give it to Rhea Ripley. Okay, that's my prediction. I think Rhea Ripley's gonna win the Raw Women's Championship. Like personally, it's the right call if they give the title to Rhea Ripley. So now it's time we talk about the main event of night 2 and WrestleMania in general. Roman Reigns defending the Universal Championship against Edge and Daniel Bryan. Now, all three men has the potential to win the matchup. All have reasons that are completely justified. But overall, I think you should give. I think Roman Reigns is going to win this matchup and retain the Universal Championship. Like, because again, Roman Reigns has been doing an amazing job as a dominant Universal Champion. Okay, and I can see why WWE wants to give the title to Edge. Daniel Bryan, no. They shouldn't give the Universal title to Daniel Bryan. Okay. Now, I kind of want Roman Reigns to hold the Universal Championship all the way up to the next WrestleMania to show how dominant of a champion Roman Reigns is. Okay, I just hope WWE makes the right call and gives Roman Reigns the victory. But that's my opinion. I think Roman Reigns is going to retain the Universal Championship and will defeat Edge and Daniel Bryan in a really great matchup at WrestleMania. So that's basically all I got to say. That's basically all I got to say. And that's basically all the news that happened this week or the last couple of weeks, honestly, but mainly this week. So, whew, man, this was a very long video. This video is already like an hour long. So, if you guys sticked around through the entire thing, I really appreciate it. Thank you so much for taking your time out of your day to watch this video. It's much appreciated. And again, do you guys agree with some of my opinions that I said throughout all the news and my predictions as well? I want to know what you guys think in the comment section. But that's basically all I got to say. I hope everyone has a nice rest of the day. If you guys like the content that I make sure you subscribe and ring the notification bell so that way you don't miss any of my videos. But thank you so much for watching. It's much appreciated. And until next time, this is Gabriel, and I'll see you next time in the Asylum. Have a nice day, everyone.